Welcome to the TIMFD podcast. Today is my favorite day is about appreciating every day as it comes, no matter what life throws at us. We hope this podcast speaks to you, and if it does, please like, share, and comment. Now let's find out why today is our favorite day this week.
Well, David, welcome back.
Hey, thank you. We're here.
We're here, yes. We had a great conversation last week, but we came out with one point that, in all of our discussions is, how do we become the peacemakers that Christ talks about?
Right, because that's the biggest struggle. We talked about four things last week, which was give thanks, be a peacemaker, pray for healing, really.
Yes.
And keep the main thing for Christians is about living out the Great Commandment and Great Commission. And that's just so you know what those are. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on those two commandments. That's the great commandment, love fully. The second is the Great Commission, which is, therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you, and surely I'm with you always to the very end of the age. As Jesus speaking, that's the Great Commission, and that is about living authentically with the people in our lives. So with that in mind, and we know that those four things, the peacemaker thing, right now we're still in the election. So what has happened so far? Because we're still going in this election.
Yeah, we still have one or two races in the Senate that haven't been called as of today. There is one that has been called by the AP, but the incumbent has not conceded yet.
Right.
And that's in the Senate.
So we're really like 42 to 48, something like that. Or 52 to 48. With the Republicans having 52 and 47, I guess that's what it'd be, because they haven't really finalized the last thing. So we'll figure it out. Yeah.
And then there are some House races that need to be decided. It's leaning towards there's going to be Democratic control of the House, the Senate, and obviously the
Republican.
Republican, yeah.
Yeah, so the Republicans right now, the way we've seen it's 215 to 203 at this moment. And then Donald Trump has pretty much won.
Well, he won the electoral vote, and he won the popular vote, which hasn't been done since the 90s.
Well, no, 2004.
2004, that's right.
That was with George Bush in his second term, when we were right in the middle of the whole war. Yeah. So we have that going on, but we have a lot of tension.
Oh, man.
Don't we?
Yeah, we do.
There's a lot of tension in businesses and families are splitting up over this stuff.
Yes.
I just saw that a guy killed his wife, his ex, his kids, over his mental health was so messed up after the election results. It was on social media. It was unbelievable. Yeah. And so why?
Yeah. When it boils down to the fact that as a generational, we grew up with, my parents were like, they would talk about politics. They would talk about money. They would talk about religion. I mean, that's who we were. But society said those are the three things you don't talk about, which is why we have problems in marriages and relationships with money, with politics, and with religion, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
And so right now we have a tendency to not talk calmly about those topics. Yeah. And at this point in
what
time,
would cause somebody to do something like that? There's people who are really scared, who think that because Donald Trump is going to be the president and the Republicans could be in control of the other two, that their world is going to come to an end. They're going to get arrested. They're going to have, women are going to have their rights taken away. Why would they believe that?
Well, the problem is that, number one, they listen to social media. Way too much social media. The rhetoric in all the news channels. And so people who get, and when you look at the younger generations especially, they get all their news from TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, and not so much Facebook. That's some of us older folks, right? Yeah. But
podcasts. Honestly, they probably get most from podcasts. So what would you call conservatives have been able to get their word out.
Yes.
So you have that, and talk radio has got a lot of clout. It seems like the TV ones, the what people call the Main Street media, seem to have thrown out a lot of real dangerous rhetoric that's got people so riled up, and people aren't going to get, have all this. It's not going to happen to them. But there will be some things that we know are going to happen. Yeah. So, how do we be a peacemaker? Because the three main subjects that were brought up of why people voted on a Republican side because it's about the platform. Because if Donald Trump was the nicest guy in the world, he would have won 500.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been.
He'd have had all the electoral votes.
Yeah, it would have been horrible because a lot of people voted against his personality, and that's unfortunate because we don't vote on personality, we vote on platform, not personality, platform, right? And we've talked about this before.
About it.
But people still did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't like them.
Yeah.
And you go, but you don't like them. But do you like what's going on the border that so many people have come in here illegally? I mean, I literally talked to a person that just told me this. And when I asked the questions, so do you like that there's a lot of illegal immigrants coming across? No. Yeah. Okay. Do you like where we are financially? No, not at all. I'm hurting bad. Yeah. Do you like what the agenda that was going on with the Democratic Party, which was pushing an LGBTQYZ whatever mindset, transgenderism, sex changes where parents didn't even know what was going on with their own kids from the schools, and the schools had more power than them. And these operations that are just awful for children to do these sex changes, it's awful. And when I brought that up just generally, didn't say it with that kind of emotion, but just generally, no, I hate that. Yeah. Okay. But you still voted for the Democratic Party. Yeah. Right? Well, yes, because Trump's a horrible guy.
Because Trump's a horrible guy. And we're in Hillsborough County, which is predominantly Democrat. Yeah. Okay. And so to show you just the split in Hillsborough County, which I don't know what the registered, Trump won Hillsborough County.
Yeah, it was like 52 to 48, something like that, percent-wise.
And he probably, if he
would have won a whole lot
if he had the personality. Yeah. On the other hand, we reelected a congresswoman
that lies to us.
Literally lies to us, and voted strictly along party lines. 100% along party lines. It makes no sense. She's a nice lady.
Yes.
And I've had people tell me that. She's a very nice lady.
She is when she comes across. She comes really across.
She comes across very nice.
So there is some power in that. Yes. Power in, you get a lot more done with honey than vinegar, right? So President Trump, that's not his personality. Got that. Vance is more like that. Yeah. He's just extremely smart, and he knows how to do it, but he won't appease anybody. But it seems to be kind of a peacemaker. Hey, he doesn't accuse them and go after people. He just goes, whoa, stop. Yeah. That's not what was said. Right. And then he gets in the conversation. So what do we do as Christians to be those peacemakers when we have folks in our own homes or our own families or in our churches? Yeah. Right? Or in our communities, our neighborhoods, who voted completely different than you if you voted on a Republican side, and they blow up at you. Yeah. Because that has happened. I got a lot of emails and stuff, and so it's not very fun.
Yeah, I've seen it in people I work with and stuff like that. And the problem comes back to we haven't had okay, what do you think about immigration? Because here's the thing. A lot of the folks that I work with outside of the church are immigrants. They came here legally. We have a lot in the church.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Immigration is what makes this country awesome.
Yes, it is.
Legal immigration makes this country awesome. Illegal anything does not help this country at all.
And and we need to define that, because we've been told that when they come across the border illegally, they're called undocumented. No, they've broken the law by crossing the border without going through due process. So they are illegal immigrants.
If I went across Mexico without that, I'd be in deep trouble. I'd be in deep trouble over there.
Go to Canada.
Oh, big time trouble. So that's just one thing. Yeah. I really believe, as I'm talking to people, it's really about, we care for people. Well, if you care for people, let's get this border thing done, because we have 300,000 children missing in these last 4 years because of what we've done with this border. Yeah. And we've got to get those children. We got to find them. The new head person for ICE and all that is going to be very good. Those borders are. He brought the children up. He said, we got to get them.
We got to get them.
We got to find them, because this is just wrong what's happened. So there is that side that we want legal people coming in. Oh yeah, who God is, everyone is created in God's image. Every human being is, And we know that, but we just got to do this legally so we can have some order to what's going on in our own country. And every country does this other than seems to be us. So
yeah, we're the only ones that kind of have the open border type thing. But here's the thing. All the issues that come through the border, for example, we know that fentanyl is being brought in and it's coming through China. Yeah. Do you know the ingredients in fentanyl are illegal in China?
Yeah. I know, it's hilarious.
They put it together there
I know.
to ship here, but they can't use them in China. So
they're smart enough to know they're going to protect their So there's one issue. The second issue is everybody wants the economy to be better.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And we want and there's a battle of how the economy could work better. But 4 years ago, the economy was working real well.
It was.
These 4 years, you know what the economy's worked for? The very rich.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But you and I are not the very rich.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
And people we talk to are not the very rich. And all of us have been hit hard.
And all the people who were telling us that they're going to tax the billionaires are billionaires.
Yeah.
I mean, they just are. You look at our Congress and our Senate, and how many of them went in, as not even millionaires, and now they are multi-millionaires pushing billionaires. And so, so that's just, it's just strange.
But the economy itself has been in trouble, and we have a lot of debt in this country that needs to be tackled. Consumer debt's
through the roof.
Yeah, it needs to be tackled now. Again, there was disagreements on how that to be done. On one side, it was give stuff, right? Give stuff. And the other side is get rid of the regulations and let people go out and do their thing. Right. And you have the opportunity to win or lose, basically.
Yeah. And it goes back to basically a very sound principle. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. And that's what we're looking at for the economy. One of the things when during Trump's first campaign, one of his key things, drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
And people don't think about the oil, the coal, the natural gas and stuff like that. We have enough of those products, plus the uranium for nuclear. We have those resources here.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. We also have the resources for the batteries and things like that in the United States.
Well, and the technology there too.
Yeah. But the problem is it's overregulated.
Yeah.
So and this I have some very dear friends in Pennsylvania involved in the coal mining industry, and I'm not going to mean to offend you here, but we could take the coal from Wyoming. I have a lot of friends that work in the coal industry in Wyoming too, right? That coal in Wyoming could be shipped to Pennsylvania. They turn off all their scrubbers in Pennsylvania because it would burn that much cleaner. It's just the type of coal, okay? There's no point in getting into that. In Wyoming, however, we had to put scrubbers on to clean the gas even more. Okay, just EPA regulation. Well, it got to, and I worked on that scrubber, so I'm not talking about, out off the top of my head or whatever. I was there. We would literally turn that scrubber down so that otherwise we'd have just pure emissions coming out. I mean,
there's the problem. And there's the problem because what you have us who are saying, let's get rid of regulation.
Yep.
And then you got people who truly believe that the earth is almost a religion, a pagan religion. I'm not saying in a mean way. It's just that people believe that. And when you say reduce the regulations, you're hurting Mother Earth. They get really upset. That's why we have Earth Day and all that kind of stuff in here. I don't personally believe that. I believe God created this, and we need to be good stewards of it. But it's not our God, and it's not. There's not a Mother Nature. And again, we'll end up with this kind of butting heads. How do you become peacemakers?
Yeah.
In something where it's really almost like religion for both sides.
Yes. Yeah.
And so you got immigration that is running into each other because we want to have everybody come in, but really part of the idea was to get everybody in and then not have them. They're here illegally, but they can vote. So you can vote in what the stuff you want to have in illegally. Yeah. That's not right. Then you have the economy side, and there's two different views on how to do the economy.
Yeah.
And invest, or it basically is take more tax dollars in so the government can make stuff or do stuff, but they're horrible at it and always have been.
They just give it away.
And that is a socialist, communist, even a fascist mindset. I hate using that word because people freak out about that. But it's the government taking over businesses and running the businesses. So you have that battle. Then you have the battle of, if you want to call it a Christian mindset, Judeo-Christian mindset in the United States, and another mindset that hates that.
Yes.
And believes that you take the rights away from people because of the religion. And how do you become peacemakers there?
Yeah.
Because I've had people scream at me, and say horrible things without really having a discussion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a lot about control, and I understand that too.
See, and we know what we believe as far as our faith is. The Bible says there's one way to heaven and everything else, but we can still have conversations with people of other faiths when we have a conversation.
Yes.
But when there's just no, you're wrong.
Or screaming at you.
Or I say, well, because you believe that, David, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Or I know where you stand on Christianity, and you say the Bible is your authority. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to listen to you. And I go, okay, you don't have to listen to me.
You don't have to listen to me.
But again, how do you come up with your worldview? So this peacemaking thing is going to be so hard because in the scriptures it says in Isaiah 52:7, how beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news. One of the things is bringing the good news of Jesus Christ, which will be rejected.
Oh yeah, yeah,
by many people who proclaim peace. So there's the peacemaker who bring good tidings. We're supposed to be bringing good things to this earth. Who proclaim salvation. Talk about being saved through the grace of Jesus Christ. And to Zion, your God reigns. That we believe God is in control, that God created everything. God, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We believe this. And our job is to put that out there. And if people disagree with it, they disagree with it.
Yeah.
Voting's going to change.
Yep.
So right now, there's going to be some that are very excited. 2 years from now, they could be feeling horrible. They could flip the other way.
Yeah.
So politics are going to be politics. It's going to go up and down and all around. That should not dictate what we believe in our faith at all.
Right.
Our faith dictates how we vote, not we vote, not what the party says is then we vote for.
Right. Exactly.
No, because if the Democratic Party suddenly went, we don't want any abortions. Right. We don't. You know where I'm going to be voting?
Yep.
I'm going to go right over to the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
It's just what I'm going to do. Yeah. And because you're saving lives.
Yeah.
And I know that for a fact. Now, I would fight them with the economic side that they were doing and try to get them to change that, because to me, it's not a wise way of looking at the economy. And obviously you want to be legal. So you want legal, immigration. I believe because Alex was bringing it up. Alex was saying that, and I think you were too, that John F. Kennedy, Democrats would never vote for the Democratic Party now.
No.
Actually, the Republican Party now looks more like those Democrats in the 1960s, which is really interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe that's why, you have the other Kennedy joining in this group.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I think I know my parents' religious beliefs. I know their stand on abortion. I know all that kind of stuff. And they were staunch Kennedy supporters.
Well, and Kennedy was Catholic, and a pretty devout Catholic, even though he was a very imperfect man, just like all of us.
Just like the rest of us.
But I wouldn't see him by just what I'm hearing and reading on his stuff that he would be a pro-abortion person. And I believe he would say, the rights of the individual in their bedroom and stuff is theirs, right? But we would not push that in the schools.
Right.
That's totally different.
Yeah.
Teach English, teach math, teach arithmetic, teach history, do all that stuff. But you're not teaching a social issue in which you got more than half the country, a lot more than half the country is going, no, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
You have the right to do what you need to do in the United States. You have the freedom to do that. We have the freedom to be able to say, God wants us to live lives that are the way he asked, which is one man, one woman married together. That's when you have sex and enjoy it. The rest of it that's your decision. You have to make it stand before God, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just like a guy who says he's Christian and goes home and he's living his life out, but he gets caught up in porn. Now and he's saying it's perfectly fine. No, it's not perfectly fine. You're putting your mind in something that God says not to do.
It's not good. Yeah.
But you can recover from that.
Yeah.
And just like all of us, we can recover from our sin. That's not who we are. We can recover from that with the grace of Jesus Christ. And so the appeasement, we're not going to appease people.
No.
So being a people pleaser is not appeasing, right?
Yeah.
It's not being a codependent.
Right.
It's not being a people pleaser. It's knowing what you stand on and having confidence in that, where you can have a conversation.
Right. And the conversation needs to continue. I mean,
it's going to go on for a long time.
It's going to go on for a long time. And, to destroy friendships, to destroy families and stuff over this, it's just
not worth it.
Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. I always go back to Bill Borkenstein. And Bill has gone home to be with Jesus. He was brought up Catholic, recovering alcoholic, going to a Pentecostal church. Okay. My best friend for years. And he freaked out during the first Trump campaign.
Yeah.
And and so.
Well, J.D. Vance was not for Trump.
Yeah.
At one point.
We said we would have coffee every Tuesday
morning. Didn't like
morning.
how he acted.
And we would talk, and finally we decided, look, we can't talk politics, but we have to come to. He's still my best friends, and he admitted after Trump's first 4 years that it might have been wrong, but he didn't live to see this.
Well, so, and I think that right now what we need to do is our job as believers is to be those peacemakers.
Yes.
Again, not peacemakers, not codependents, not people pleasers. We can agree to disagree, but I do want to hear your view.
Yes.
As long, and my hope is you will give me an opportunity to speak my view. And if you disagree, let's have a discussion over it.
Not an argument.
No. Like I said, we had this before. I had some pastors that asked me to come into a meeting. We started talking. And I was the oldest out of the group. And they were talking about, we got to stand for justice. I said, I agree. That's great. Let's do that. That was in 2020, 2021. Said, let's stand for justice. But justice starts in the womb and goes to the grave. We should be looking at justice all the way around. So we need to have justice for the unborn. We need to have justice for what's going on with our police, and give justice to our police too, not just look one side, right? And all the way up. We need to be doing that. They didn't want to do that.
No.
And they want to focus on the 15 abuses in the United States of police towards people. 15.
Yeah.
And out of 380 million people, I mean, that's really small.
Insane.
I could talk about a whole lot more things going on than that. It's still not right, but my thing was, there's 50 million abortions taking place here, guys. Yeah. And where's the justice there? Yeah. We need to discuss that. And all three pastors said they would not discuss it in their church. Well, 2 of them are out of ministry now. Well, so that was just within the last few years. Yeah. So I just don't. You can't appease. Yeah. You can't appease. The conversation has to happen. It has to be. Look, it goes back to the Great Commandment, right? We have to love. Yep. We have to, as Christians, we have to learn to breathe, tone it down, and have a conversation in love, in grace, not appeasing, but listening, wholeheartedly listening. And let's face it, we know that hurting people hurt people. Absolutely. And so if they are coming against you hard for this, what's behind it? Yeah. What's behind it? Yeah. And so that's where our responsibility as Christians comes. If we don't know what's behind it, we need to hit our knees and say, okay, Lord, how can I help? Right. How can I be a peacemaker in this situation? Yeah, that's exactly it. So again, it's very difficult, and we're going to be having to practice this a lot. Yeah, we are. On if you voted as a Democrat and voted for the Democratic platform, or a Republican who voted for the Republican platform, if you're a Christian, Muslim, whoever, business person, bottom line is we're going to have these we have to have the conversations, calmer conversations, bring down the heat, and be able to have them. And it's a challenge to all of us. All of us. We challenge you to be a peacemaker. Be a peacemaker. Be a peacemaker. This has been David Towner, Sam McKeown. For Today Is My Favorite Day. Live intentionally, be very blessed, my friends. Bye. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to TIMFD. Today is my favorite day. Views, comments, and opinions are those of the host and guest alone, and Dave and Sam are solely responsible for the content of this podcast. TIMFD is produced and directed by Alex Korn. Music is composed and performed by Chuck Falk. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, live intentionally, and be very blessed.